Hi everyone! Today I'm kicking off the first video in a 5-part series, which is all about why Ops Run It can slow your time to market, and conversely, why you Build It, You Run It can improve your time to market. The question is, why would you care about that? Well, because a rapid time to market is proven to be the best way to increase your return on investment for digital organizations, and even digital services in general. Recent research conducted by Forrester with equal experts proves that improving time to market for feature delivery, or the ability to get your ideas from concept to cash quickly, can significantly increase your profit and reduce costs. You can find a link to the research in the description of this video. For each video in this series, I'll look at a specific aspect of Ops Run It which slows your time to market. And then I'm going to compare it to You Build It, You Run It and explain how each model differs. Give some practical examples to help illustrate each point. So let's get into it. Ops Run It prioritizes stability in a way that fundamentally stops you delivering at speed. Well, that's a bold statement, but what do I mean by this? Is that in Ops Run It model, there are no processes or methods in place to drive speed. In fact, the teams are structured in a way that actively compromises speed. By having separate compartmentalized teams, that have been segregated between delivery and operations teams, you create a scenario where it's necessary to have these gates and handovers between those teams. Those handovers and the passing of context and information between segregated teams inherently create delays and prevent you from delivering new features at pace, but also fixing incidents at pace. Well, how does this play out in reality? Let's think about an incident management process when something goes wrong in production. Here, in an Ops Run It model, you'll have the operations team that will triage and identify incidents. They will try to rectify an incident, but if they can't rectify it, they will eventually contact the delivery team who built the feature for what's called Level 3 support. Firstly, this means the operation team will likely be slower to rectify incidents, particularly those that went to Level 3 support, because they weren't involved in building the actual feature they're tasked with supporting. And there's obviously a cost associated with this delay in fixing the incidents. Secondly, we have an operations team that is solely motivated to prioritize service availability. When a team is solely motivated to prioritize availability or stability, they're not incentivized to support the faster delivery of newer features. In fact, the rapid delivery of new features can be seen as compromising that stability of the system. So to protect the primary objective, this team can then over-engineer the process of change to make sure that that system remains stable. So they will do things like reducing the number of changes they want to make to the system, and also making sure their deployment changes happen at night rather than during the day, and also implement both manual and automated deployments. But set up eyes-on-glass monitoring where people will be watching systems in anticipation of incidents, or really driving manual work over and above automation. Accumulatively, these practices make it incredibly difficult for an organization to launch innovative new features at pace, which means it's incredibly difficult to deliver new value to your customers. And while you aren't delivering value and new differentiators, there's every chance that your competitors are. So how is You Build It, You Run It different? It's crucial here to point out that You Build It, You Run It doesn't emphasize speed instead of stability. You Build It, You Run It has a similar focus on stability, and in fact actually contributes to higher levels of service availability than a traditional Ops Run It model. You Build It, You Run It focuses on providing both stability and speed, not compromising one over the other. There are many practices in You Build It, You Run It that emphasize both speed and stability. In this model, the team who builds the software then runs the software. That means, in contrast to Ops Run It, there's no requirement for handoffs or briefings to another team to explain how things were built. This is just one example of many things that immediately contribute to a higher throughput of delivery and the ability to deliver more faster by purely just removing tasks. So additionally, because the team who builds the software is also charged with running the software in production, teams in You Build It, You Run It will implement proactive contingencies to remove the risk of failure. These teams are incredibly proactive in building for stability. And in contrast, the operations team in an Ops Run It model is largely reactive through no fault of their own, by virtue of the fact that operations teams just don't get hold of the new features until they're actually live. So there you have it, a quick overview to highlight how Ops Run It can overemphasize service stability to the detriment of delivering new features to market quickly. And conversely, how You Build It, You Run It can empower teams to deliver innovative new features at pace while still maintaining an emphasis on high levels of service availability. Really importantly, I'd like to point out this isn't a sweeping criticism of Ops Run It. In certain circumstances where speed to market isn't a factor, it's an entirely valid operating model. But if you're hoping to launch new features to market, both frequently and rapidly, with those high levels of service reliability, You Build It, You Run It will deliver enormous amounts of value. In my next video, I'll look at the complexity of the deployment pipeline associated with Ops Run It model to show you how You Build It, You Run It can streamline processes while improving your quality. As always, if you found this video useful, please like the video or subscribe to the channel and share the material with your network. And be sure to check back for more insights into unlocking value with You Build It, You Run It. See you next time.